Hey, good morning everybody, TJ here. Today I'm out at Copper testing the Bataleon Evil Twin. It's been a couple years since I've had the chance to ride this snowboard. Really excited to spend some time on it and share what this board is all about. Let's get into it. All right guys, so the Evil Twin is a board that I've spent a lot of time on over the years and I've grown to love as just an all-around freestyle snowboard. A very versatile twin, super fun in the park. But real quick before I jump into all the tech you're gonna find in this snowboard, for your reference, I'm 5'10", I weigh 155 pounds, and I'm testing this board in size 154. You're gonna find the staples from Bataleon in this snowboard, which is gonna be a combination of a true positive camber profile from contact point to contact point with their triple base technology. That's a 3D base shaping that you're gonna find outside your feet in the tip and tail of this snowboard. It's gonna be in every Bataleon snowboard with some slight variations. And basically what this is an uplifted base and edge outside the bindings and the tip and tail. So the way that looks is the center of the board is flat, just like pretty much any other snowboard, but on the sides, the base and edge are beveled up and it kind of goes gradual from your feet all the way out to the tips, uplifting a little bit more and more and more. That's gonna offer a few benefits. It's gonna give you quick, smooth edge-to-edge transitions. It's gonna offer more efficient snow displacement in soft snow and powder conditions. But my favorite, especially in these more freestyle focused boards, is that it is very, very catch-free. You basically cannot catch an edge on this snowboard unless you make a deliberate mistake almost. And you still get the power and precision and energy that you would expect from a true traditional camber profile. So it's a really fun combination. It can take a little bit of getting used to, but once you figure out those pressure points to activate the edge and kind of playing around with that catch-free feel, you can really have a lot of fun with this combination here. Other than that, you're gonna find a bunch of carbon built into the Evil Twin. You're gonna get their central super tubes. That's some carbon tubes milled right into the core of the snowboard, going right down the middle. So it's gonna help amplify that energy and snap without stiffening the board up torsionally at all. You're also gonna find some carbon stringers built into the layup to help amplify that pop and energy even more. And it runs Bataleon's flex wall sidewall. So that's gonna be a urethane sidewall on this snowboard, the same material that skateboard wheels are made out of, to offer some dampening, smooth things out as you're out there exploring, and just dampen those vibrations that you might find in the snowboard as you're out there cruising and exploring, or even in the terrain park. Other than that, you're gonna get Bataleon's ultralight core in the Evil Twin. So that's a 70% Polonia, 30% poplar core that's nice and lightweight while still offering some good durability and energy, as well as a triaxial fiberglass layup. So that's 3 directions of fiberglass in this snowboard to help give it a little bit more torsional response, and a sintered base. So that's going to be a higher end base material that's known to be harder, more durable, and faster compared to an extruded base. But you do want to make sure to wax this regularly to maintain a consistent glide through the season and keep it feeling fast out there. And a couple last things I want to touch on before we start getting these laps going is this is the 20-year anniversary model of the Evil Twin. So it's gonna ride exactly the same as the regular Evil Twin if you're wondering what this graphic is all about, but it just has a limited graphics. You got this neon top sheet and a throwback base on this snowboard. That's it for a quick tech breakdown. We're gonna get these laps going. I'll check back in with you a little bit later to talk about how this thing feels out here at Copper. Let's go. Guys, we're going to talk all things Evil Twin here, but first you may be wondering, what's up with this sticker? Well, I just got back from my summer snowboard camp I host every year out on Mount Hood, and this year my good friend David Jones came out to help host it, and he noticed, hey, this snowboard is the same color as the tennis ball, so it'd be kind of funny if you put some tennis stickers on it. So that's where these stickers came from. And as far as what I actually want to talk about with the Evil Twin, let's start off talking about the overall feel and the flex you're going to find in this snowboard. So I would say flex wise, it's just a touch on the softer side of medium, both lengthwise and torsionally. Gives the board a very maneuverable, easier to control feel, but still very capable, especially in a more freestyle first setting. Very versatile in the terrain park. We'll get more into that later. But there is something that dominates the overall feel more than other things with the Bataleon Evil Twin and most Bataleons, and that is that classic combo that they put in these guys of that traditional camber with the triple bass technology. And that 3BT just makes the board super, super catch free, and it's particularly noticeable when you're playing around with butters and flat tricks. So I want to talk about that. First off, you can get some really nice flex out of this snowboard. It's going to make those tail presses look so nice. And it still gives back some nice snap and pop, even when you're just sitting in a tail press as well. But one thing I really like about this board and the flex and all the carbon they put in it is it's really manageable. Like, it's just a very natural feeling to load that tension in the snowboard, and it just comes through with a really great pop. Ollie to slow sign, no problem on this thing, and even went front one. It was a little bit lower that day, to be fair, but I've never even done that before. So hella pop on the Evil Twin, very comfortable to load and get that snap out of it. I think that's a nice benefit you're going to find in this guy that I think most of you are going to be able to figure out pretty quick from the first lap on this thing. Definitely a lot of fun for all kinds of butter combos. So if you're into those types of maneuvers, ground tricks, things like that, I think you're really going to enjoy the feel of this snowboard. But overall, very catch free, very buttery, and lots of pop. Okay, when it comes to park laps and riding with that freestyle first, trying to dial in tricks kind of mindset, the Evil Twin sits at a pretty optimal, like, all-arounder kind of feel, in my opinion. I think for 90% of us, this is going to be a great just daily do whatever in the terrain park kind of board. I think it's confident on jumps. You know, for me, I ride this board through the medium line all the time at Copper. It feels super good all the way through there, which the third jump is like 30, 35 feet, depending on the day. And another thing I like about 3BT, specifically when it comes to hitting jumps, is that it's a little bit more forgiving. So say you're trying to learn a new trick and you just legitimately make a mistake and you pre-spin pretty heavy. The 3BT is gonna make it much less likely that you're gonna have an edge catch that would lead to an otherwise potentially pretty bad fall. So I think having that mental safety net just to give you that little bit of extra confidence can really go a long way. Obviously, you don't want to make a habit of pre-spinning, but if you legitimately do it, this can provide a bit of a safety net, which is kind of cool. And when it comes to jibs, I think this is a pretty solid all-arounder on jibs. It's got that nice torsional flex, so it feels good on the approach. Even when you're going slow, doing mini shred, it flexes good. You can do techie tricks with it. It locks in well. And you know, if you're the type of rider that maybe some days you're just gonna go hike a tube and just work on rail wizardry, this is definitely a board you can do that with and work on that kind of progression comfortably and with a good feel. So in my opinion, this thing is a really great all-arounder. If you are the type of rider that just wants a little bit more stability, maybe you're a little bit more jump focused, look at the Evil Twin Plus, or you know, maybe even the Goliath or Goliath Plus on their line if you really want that extra stability. But for me, and what I like to do, if you've seen a lot of the reviews or videos on the channel, I think this is just a great maneuverable, does what you want to do all around park board that still maintains a confident feel when you push it to bigger features. So I love this thing in the park. I think that's the single biggest highlight for me with the Evil Twin. Yeah, that's kind of how I'd summarize it. Let's talk about the resort and carving experience next. Two specs I want to throw out for you guys for the Evil Twin 154 are the waist width, which is going to come in at 25 centimeters at this size, kind of in that average, very versatile range, maybe just a touch narrow. But one thing Bataleon does really well is make their wide sizes very wide. So if you have a larger boot size, definitely check that out. You're also going to find an 8-meter side cut on the Evil Twin here at this size, which is, again, pretty average, pretty versatile. Gonna throw you into slightly more drawn out carves, maybe a little bit more all mountain leaning, but I'd say just within that healthy parkboard range where it's just gonna feel natural. Stability wise, I think this is the kind of board that is definitely freestyle first, but still gonna be all right riding around the resort, riding a little bit more all mountain kind of stuff, I definitely wouldn't hesitate to go explore and rip around the resort on this thing. Performance wise, I don't think it's particularly remarkable, but at the same time, I don't really think it's going to be on your mind as far as like feeling like the board is holding you back. It's just a chill cruiser if you do want to rip around the resort. Two quick things I do want to mention though about the feel you're going to find is you are going to notice that 3BT gives you a little bit smoother, quicker edge to edge transition and a little bit easier to get into a turn as well, which is nice. And one thing I've heard a lot of people say about Bataleons I want to address real quick is that they maybe don't hold an edge as good as a traditional camber board without the 3BT. And personally, I disagree. I'll dive into this more in a future video. I think there's a little bit of a different pressure to get the edge to lock and activate. But once you're in the carve, it holds an edge just as good as a regular camber board without it. Definitely solid edge hold and a fun one to cruise around. No issues there. All right, so at the end of the day, who is the Evil Twin for? Well, I think this is one of those boards that most riders are going to be able to get behind if you give it a solid try, really regardless of your skill level. I think this is going to give you that true all-around freestyle versatility with a uniquely catch-free feel and some good pop as well. So if you're on the market for a park board and this sounds like it's in your wheelhouse and the type of riding that you enjoy doing, definitely consider the Bataleon Evil Twin. It's one of my all-time favorites. I spent a lot of time on this board over the years, so super happy to get a fresh review up for you guys. I'm gonna have it linked down below if you wanna read more about it, so it's right there for you. And if you got some value, drop a like for me, subscribe to the channel before you leave, and let me know what you think about this review down in the comments. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you in a new one next time. Later, guys.